LTN Hour. Let's talk NASCAR with your host, Todd Bailing, co-hosts Brian Schmidt, PJ Noodleman, and producer Dangerous Dan Margetta. Call the show anytime at 414-421-7901. And now, the creator and host of the fastest hour in radio, Todd Bailing.
We, doing this show for as long as we have, we've experienced this sort of thing more than we like to think about. But it's a really dark day when we have to talk about the death of one of our heroes, and it happened this week with Greg Biffle, and not just Greg Biffle, but his wife Christina, his son Ryder, his daughter Emma, some friends, Dennis Dutton and his son Jack, Craig Wadsworth, 7 people in total on a ill-fated flight that was going to go from Statesville, North Carolina to Sarasota, Florida, and spend the afternoon down there with Garrett Mitchell, otherwise AKA, known as, the hell's his name, Dan?
Cletus
McFarland. My partners all joining me here, Brian Schmidt in Utzberg, Wisconsin. Another dark day.
Yeah, this is not something, when I saw it happen or heard about it happening there's talk that, you hope that he's not on it, but then again, it doesn't matter who's on it. When you saw that wreck, you knew you weren't going to survive it. So it was just a matter of time. And as time went by, you realized nobody was saying they heard from him, and you kind of feared the worst. And then Garrett Mitchell was the one who confirmed it and said that he was headed down by them. So
yeah, he was on his way. PJ Noodleman, our lady, and I mean that. Welcome.
God. Yeah, tragic stuff there with Greg Biffle, and I don't think everybody realizes how much charitable things he did behind the scenes and just how involved he was with so many things.
Kidding. And, of course, Dan Margetta, my longtime producer, director, and all-around good guy.
Yeah, and same thing like Brian said, when you heard it was going on, you kind of knew the outcome wasn't going to be good. You're hoping, against hope it wasn't, but everybody kind of figured that's how it was going to be. And you just kind of think it's like, here's another one. It's like I can't think of any sport that's been hit with air disasters as much as racing has. And you kind of think why. And it's like, well, because to get places, everybody has a plane. It's almost necessary now. So there's so many flying out there. It's not like your sports teams are all on one big charter jet and everybody goes in one place. Everybody gets there on their own. So I guess there's that much more opportunity for things to happen. Right. It just seems it happens way too much, I guess, and you don't really think about it until it actually does, and you kind of look back and say, man, we've been through this a lot, and that's not good.
Yeah, it seems like racing is much more susceptible to this sort of thing. Greg Biffle would have been 56 on Tuesday. He was a Craftsman Truck Series champion, Busch Series champion, had 19 Cup wins. He had been nominated for the Hall of Fame a couple of times and wasn't, it was just a matter of time, but I get a funny feeling that's going to be moved up.
I think he's on it currently. He was on this coming class was his first year on it. He didn't make this class, but it'll stay on there for a couple of years now, right?
Yeah, well, it's going to be more than I believe. His time in a race car is notable enough with that many wins and battling for championships and the personality that he was. But really, he found a higher calling. The guy owned a helicopter and an airplane. The helicopter, it must be really cool to be able to buy a helicopter. I love helicopters, and from the time I was a kid watching an old TV show called Whirlybirds, that was on way before any of my partners watched television. They were still shitting yellow at that point. But either way, I loved helicopters, and I thought it was so cool that Biffle not only had one and flew around and said, hey, I got a helicopter. He actually used it for not just good, a lifesaver he was. He went up after Hurricane Helene, took a detour and went through western North Carolina and absolutely devastated those mountain communities and flooded out, and people were blocked in, and no food, no water. And when he figured out that he could make a difference, he used his helicopter at his own expense, and much of it with Craig Wadsworth, by the way, the coach driver and all-around good guy who was kind of helped him in all of his adventures. They flew all kinds of stuff up into the mountains there to help people and take people out that were in need of medical help. And for that kind of unbelievable dedication, he did win the NMPA Myers Brothers Award in 2024. It's a humanitarian thing, and you talk about a higher calling. There it is, folks. And I saw something posted on Facebook yesterday that made all the sense in the world. They really need to have a Greg Biffle Community Service Award that they give out once a year for somebody that's deserving. Don't try to come up with something. If there's nobody this year that did anything notable, don't worry about it. Give it next year. But you really need to name an award after Biffle. It's the least you could do after the example that he set for not just the NASCAR community, for all of us. He was a very unselfish guy that did good for people, and he should be remembered for that as much or more than anything he ever did in a race car. Sorry. He had, with 19 Cup wins, he had the same amount of wins as current Hall of Famers Buddy Baker and Davey Allison. They're in the Hall, so you can't pretty much tell me that he won't be going into the Hall of Fame in time.
And I think that whole hurricane deal in North Carolina, it kind of showed everybody outside the racing world who Greg Biffle was. You know, it kind of we all knew him for what he did in the racetrack and the racing stuff. And I think when that happened, you saw just what it was as a person, what he was. You know, he took it on himself, and pretty much when there's all kinds of red tape going on and stuff wasn't getting. He's like, I got a helicopter. I'm going to get it there and get these people what they need. And it kind of elevated it outside just racing to overall. I mean, people that didn't know anything about racing suddenly knew who Greg Biffle was because he was helping these people out.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. He had sold the helicopter and the plane. He was leasing the plane back. By the way, there's a really good interview with Biffle on Dale Jr.'s the Dale Jr. download that I looked up. I watched half of it yesterday and the other half this morning before we went on. An amazing guy. And of all the subjects that those two talked about, they talked about his time with Roush and how things in the long term didn't turn out too good at Roush. And we are going to have Robbie Reiser join us after the break, who's going to have a few things to say about what it was like to work with Greg Biffle, and he's waiting to talk to us. We don't have a lot of stories about Biffle, but Dan and I were able to have lived through one that was absolutely hilarious. We were in Vegas together, and we had gone over to see our old buddy Jim Watson, Wildman, who was working. Was he working on the 16 or just for Roush in general? I don't know. I think he had the 16 stuff on, didn't he, Dan?
Yeah, I think he was at the 16.
And we walked over to talk to him, and he was laughing his ass off.
They weren't running very good.
No, they were running just like shit. And he went on. And so we went over to Watson, and I said, "What are you laughing at?" He says, "I was just over there as Biffle came off the racetrack after practice, and things weren't going good. And the crew chief, and I don't know who it was, and probably glad I don't, walked over to Biffle and said, 'So what do we need to do to the car?' And Biffle says, 'Why don't you kill yourself?'"
Oh my God.
What a way to remember him. I could just hear him telling the crew chief that it was, and by the way, that was also classic Wildman Watson too. To be in the middle of that was pretty hilarious. Also, Biffle, you may remember, since he retired, was involved in a kind of a messy lawsuit with his first wife. She is the mother of their daughter Emma, who died in this crash. Also, 14-year-old daughter. In 2018, there was a lawsuit. Do you remember this one? They were in court because the way the story goes, Biffle was afraid or believed that one of their maids was stealing from him. So what did he do? But he put a bunch of closed-circuit cameras in the house, and it just happened to be of the bathroom, and caught the ex-wife. Who gives a crap? And apparently was able to see old Nicole as she got out of the shower or something like that. But what he did do was catch her screwing a tennis instructor. But she sued him and won $1. Well, that was what the punitive damage was. There was a fine involved of $250,000 he had to pay too. But yeah, I don't know if you remember, that was in 2018 already. So long back. We're glad you're tuned in. We're going to have a real nice conversation with Robbie Reiser about his friend and co-worker, Greg Biffle, when we come back.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
Hey, Matthew, give me a hand with this tree.
Dad, let's get a real tree this year.
Hey, leave that fake tree in the box under the basement steps this year. Get a real tree from PMF Landscape on River Road in West Bend. Any kind of real tree imaginable, up to 18 feet. A huge assortment of Christmas decorations, including wreaths in 3 sizes, cemetery wreaths, festive global hanging ornaments, bows, garland roping, and more. Stop in 7 days a week during the holiday season, have refreshments, and check everything out. How about a PMF gift certificate? The perfect gift. PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 South River Road in West Bend. Call them 262-338-8800.
Dad, our tree from PMF Landscape looks great.
Chimney Mechanics installs and services wood, natural gas, propane, pellet stoves, and chimneys. We service all of Wisconsin, the UP, and Northern Illinois. We repair all brands and all models of fireplaces, no matter where you bought it. We do custom chimney caps, liners, chimney fire repairs, water and stonework, water leak repairs, and replacement dampers. We do new construction and insurance work. No job is too big or too small. ChimneyMechanics.com. That's Chimney Mechanics with an X. Check us out on Facebook.
Welcome back to this special edition of LTN. It's not only the one where we're going to take our caps off to Greg Biffle and his fabulous career, but it's the final program of the 2025 season. We're going to take only 1 week off this year because of the way the holidays fall, and we will be back 2 weeks from today to start our 42nd season of doing this program. Our longtime friend, Robbie Reiser, joins us from North Carolina, the former 3-time Slinger Speedway track champion and the longtime general manager, racing director over at Roush Fenway Racing. Robbie, thanks for taking a few minutes to talk with us today.
No problem. Thanks, Todd.
You spent quite a bit of time working under the same roof as Greg Biffle, and but not directly for. You weren't his crew chief, but you certainly knew him as good as anybody in the place.
Yeah, I mean, we worked together. Actually, when I call him the Biff, when the Biff came, he came to ride trucks in 2000, which was basically driven by Benny Parsons, seeing him out in Arizona racing, and talked Jack into putting him in the truck. So he came to work for us about the same time that Matt and myself went to work for Jack. I mean, we ran the 5 races in '99, but in 2000 we started to run full season. So obviously we were part of the organization, and we were together probably, 15 years, I would think. I think his last year was 2015 when the 3M program got shut down. So we hung around a lot together and did a lot of things together, that's for sure.
He appeared to me to be a kind of a fiery son of a gun.
Oh, yeah. He would get mad once in a while. I mean, some of the driver debriefs would get pretty interesting when Greg was in there because he didn't hold back. He was very straightforward, and when he wanted something done, he sure made his point. He was always very very professional and always but he was always very honest to what he wanted to do. But Greg always had a lot of things going on, so he was a pretty interesting fella.
He might have been, he was only 5'9", but that didn't stop him from when he was pissed off. He was going to swing until it cost him a lot of money, and there was a great story that he told about the Roush fined him the money. He didn't pay the money when he got into a fist fight one time. A pretty amazing young driver at that time, and he kind of matured over the years, and you got to see the whole process from your angle.
Yeah, I mean. Greg did a lot of things. When he first came to race for us, like you say, he was very young, and he wanted everything done a different way and his way and that type of thing. So he had to work through some of those things. We were no different. I guess when you look at the ages, we were probably all younger guys, and we were a lot more fiery back then. But I think he was very motivated to making things happen, and not only in racing, but in all the other things that he was involved in. I mean, he did some machine work. He had a little machine shop that he did on the side. He was in the UTVs. He loved to go fishing with his dad in Mexico. I mean, he hung out at the dunes out west. I mean, he did a lot of crazy things, that he enjoyed.
I think that's what a lot of people don't realize about Biffle. A lot of people just know the racetrack stuff and the on-track performance things, and you don't realize what he was like away from the racetrack. And it seems like he always wanted to do something, always got to keep busy, and he really saw that after he got out of racing. He didn't just, run off in the sunset. We didn't hear from him. He actually, got his helicopter out, helped those people in North Carolina, which you saw firsthand down there, being there in North Carolina. I think a lot of people don't realize just how bad it was because we didn't get the coverage where you guys got actually being there, that he made a real big difference there.
He made a huge difference. I mean, he actually brought it to the surface. When he went in there, they were trying to, everybody was trying to stop him from going in there. Wouldn't allow the helicopters in there, and he didn't listen. He just went past and went through there and started bringing people in and out of there. And he brought supplies and things back and forth. And he used his name, I would say, to bring a lot of sponsorship to that. From chainsaws to supplies that the people needed, and he was bringing them back and forth. They actually had a command force set up in Statesville at the airport where they were storing all this, and then they were bringing it back and forth to the people that needed it in Western North Carolina. And I think Greg Biffle is probably 80% of the reason why everybody knew about it, because of what he was all doing and doing it on his own too. Let me make that real clear. He did all that on his own to make that all happen, and it was pretty impressive.
Going out and finding sponsors for that sort of thing. I suppose that's not as hard as you would think it would be, because, the fact that Greg Biffle was the one that was going to take your chainsaws that you donated up into where it could make a difference, saving lives. It seems like that's not just like a normal contribution. It's people wanted to jump on board something like that, it seems like to me. But I think example of
you
the
really
kind
got
of
to think about. He really took his time to do that. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that have that type of celebrity background that don't do that. He did that. He felt that it was that important to help all those people that he took the time and effort to go do that. That's pretty amazing for what he all was able to accomplish.
I can't imagine what the racing community is like down there at this time, right before Christmas, losing a guy as prolific as Greg Biffle, who was he didn't race perhaps anymore. And by the way, he jumped back into Kyle Busch's truck just a couple of, when was that? That wasn't very long ago. Was it about 4 years ago?
I think about maybe 5 or 6 years ago, but he got the win. Remember, he jumped in the truck and won with it right off the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2019.
19. Oh boy, that was longer than I thought it was.
Yep.
But, it seems to me that whole community that you are a part of down there in North Carolina is just absolutely bitch slapped over this whole thing.
Yeah, devastation is the word. I mean, it's not only Greg, but you got 7 people that were involved in this thing, and a whole family gone. I mean, it's tragic at its most, and I think it's hit home with a lot of people because we all do a lot of traveling and do a lot of things together, and to lose everybody in one clip there, I think a lot of the racing families go back and forth on planes and stuff where you don't really think about that until something like this happens.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff. As we're headed off to a break here, Robbie, you just told us as we were going on here right before the show that you're going to be a grandfather for the second time. Did I hear that right?
Yes, you heard that right. Old grandpa, they call me.
Well, you can leave that old part off, but things could be worse than to be called grandpa. I don't mind it myself.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
There's
fantastic.
a lot of good and bad in this world, and that's one of the good things is to be grandparents, and I'm really looking forward to the second time around.
Oh, that's fantastic. Hey, Rob, best to your wife and family, and from all of us at LTN, thanks for doing this. And of course, as you know, we're thinking about everybody that knew Greg Biffle and considered him a friend, and we're thinking about you during this holiday season.
I really appreciate it, and really keep their family in their prayers because they really need it. Merry Christmas to everybody. Have a good holidays. Thanks.
You bet. Robbie Reiser. We're going to take a break and be back after these.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines, just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship-winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company, in the heart of Wisconsin, is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at wagnerautomotive.com.
Miller Sales and Service of Random Lake is where to go for a trailer no matter what you're hauling. Tom and Jerry Miller have been selling trailers from B&B, Trophy, and Bravo for over 50 years. Quality and integrity is what put them on the map on the corner of 57 and K since 1939. Home of the number 89 dirt and asphalt cars of Brad Miller. That's Miller Sales and Service. It's where to go for a trailer just 20 minutes north of Milwaukee. Call them 920-994-4358.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
Welcome back to the program. You know, as Dan said, it seems like the motorsports community is a little more susceptible to this, just for the fact that so many of them fly, and there's so many hours that are logged. You know, air travel is still a very safe mode of transportation. The problem with it is, if you're driving along the road and your car's engine decides to take a shit, well, you just pull over. And an airplane, and we don't know exactly what happened yet, but you fall out of the sky. They tried their best to come around and land, but the plane had been just fueled up for that flight to Sarasota, and you can't dump the fuel that quickly. They did their best to land. We still don't know who was flying the plane. There were other pilots on board. This Dennis Dutton was a pilot.
Well, they also struck one of those stanchions that was about 1,800 feet short of the runway. So they hit some trees as well and some other light structures.
On
So
the edge of a golf course.
Yeah, there was a lot of things that got hit.
They were close to making it. I mean, they were close. Some of the eyewitnesses says the wheels were down. I mean, you were probably within 1,000 feet of maybe pulling that off. You know, that's
sounds like they had it lined up to come. I mean, you can't just land the plane. You got to get it lined up and have all your angles right and everything else to make this work because you're coming out of the sky. And it was in line. They said in the last briefing to make the landing. It just said they were too low, and
they went through a chain link fence before, or as it was happening. Yeah, no kidding.
And I mean, air travel. You know, people are saying that was a 1981 plane, but that's not out of the out of the norm. You know,
they're not bad planes. That's not like cars.
No, cars. 1981 cars. You don't see many of them out there. But the maintenance program that planes have, the fine tooth comb they go through with them all the time. I mean, just think about, if you have like a FlightAware app or anything, you look at how many planes are in the sky. I mean, it's incredible how much stuff is out there and how rare this is to happen.
That is exactly right, Brian. I think people only hear about the bad stuff, but for every airplane accident, there's hundreds of thousands of flights that do not have incidences. So,
I mean, just like the FedEx plane, a couple months ago in Louisville where the engine fell off. You know how many FedEx planes take off every day? I mean, Dan, when we're in Indy, that's like their hub. It's like every 10 minutes there's one taking off for hours. So I mean, it's extremely rare for this to happen, and it's just. When God says it's your turn, I guess.
The NTSB is there.
This turns to the Y now. Yeah, that's what their job is to go. They put a report out. It'll probably come out. There'll probably be a preliminary report in a couple of weeks. Probably months later, they have the final report. You can always see those in line, and they'll really go through it to find out why, because that's what aviation does now. We got to figure out why, and if we know the why, how can we prevent it from happening again? And you kind of learn as you go type thing.
Yeah, it'll probably be about 30 days, they said.
For the preliminary report, they said a year to a year and a half before the whole report is out. They're going to go back and find out who the maintenance company was, since, like I mentioned, Greg had sold this plane and it was owned by someone else who was obviously in charge of maintenance on the thing. So we'll find out more about it when the NTSB gets into it.
Crazy that was a Cessna Citation 550 is a pretty safe plane. They don't have a whole lot of accidents with that plane. I think the last, I don't know if this is 100% sure because I'm really looking at it, but one of the ones I've searched for past crashes, one happened here in Milwaukee, and that was like in 2007. So it's been a while.
Really?
Same kind of thing where the plane took off and ended up crashing in Lake Michigan, and it was a medical team going from Milwaukee across the lake to Michigan. And so you can look at something like that. Is it similar? Is it that case they fought the controls? I just thought it was odd that it was here in Milwaukee was one of the last crashes of that kind of plane.
Not only had he been married to Nicole Lunders, they were divorced in March of 2015, but he got remarried to Christina Grasso. She's a real estate agent from down there in that area, a pretty highly decorated real estate agent. And, they make some pretty serious coin. And they had this little boy, Ryder, together. But, of course, at this time, Nicole Lunders is mourning the loss of her teenage daughter, and we have to think of her this time, too.
Greg did some YouTube stuff, too. I mean, he kind of embraced that. That's how he was friends with, Garrett Mitchell or Cletus McFarland. And one of our listeners, Derek Rames, a listener every week, kind of put something off on his Facebook page, a link to, they were going to get Christmas trees just about, 10 days ago. And you watch that now and you're like, wow, it's something they actually were,
they were supposed to be heading to the Bahamas together.
Right.
That's where the plane was heading, to go down and pick him up, spend some time there, and then head to the Bahamas together.
Right. To celebrate his birthday, which was coming up, what Tuesday would have been.
Yeah.
And did you see, too, that Cletus, when he was having his Christmas party with his his crew, I mean, they still had that, they did the gift exchange, and he drew number 16 as the numbers. Yeah.
Crazy. They just had a Crown Vic race down at old Cletus's racetrack where PJ and I just were a couple of weeks ago at the Freedom Factory. And Hocevar won it. and Biffle was second. And Biffle and Hocevar posted a picture of them hugging after they had got out of the cars. It might be a fun little race to have, but there's something that's going to stick with Carson Hocevar his whole life, I'll guarantee you. We're due for a break. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Miller Sales and Service of Random Lake is where to go for a trailer, no matter what you're hauling. Tom and Jerry Miller have been selling trailers from B&B, Trophy, and Bravo for over 50 years. Quality and integrity is what put them on the map on the corner of 57 and K since 1939. Home of the number 89 dirt and asphalt cars of Brad Miller. That's Miller Sales and Service. It's where to go for a trailer, just 20 minutes north of Milwaukee. Call them 920-994-4358.
Hey, Matthew, give me a hand with this tree.
Dad, let's get a real tree this year.
Hey, leave that fake tree in the box under the basement steps this year. Get a real tree from PMF Landscape on River Road in West Bend. Any kind of real tree imaginable, up to 18 feet. A huge assortment of Christmas decorations, including wreaths in 3 sizes, cemetery wreaths, festive global hanging ornaments, bows, garland roping, and more. Stop in 7 days a week during the holiday season, have refreshments, and check everything out. How about a PMF gift certificate? The perfect gift. PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 South River Road in West Bend. Call them 262-338-8800.
Dad, our tree from PMF Landscape looks great.
Chimney Mechanics installs and services wood, natural gas, propane, pellet stoves, and chimneys. We service all of Wisconsin, the UP, and Northern Illinois. We repair all brands and all models of fireplaces, no matter where you bought it. We do custom chimney caps, liners, chimney fire repairs, water and stonework, water leak repairs, and replacement dampers. We do new construction and insurance work. No job is too big or too small. ChimneyMechanics.com. That's Chimney Mechanics with an X. Check us out on Facebook.
Welcome back. The final episode of LTN this year. We'll take 1 week off for the holidays next week, and we'll be back on January 4th of 2026. As long as we don't go flying. A couple things happened this week. First of all, you'd think they'd learn, these drivers, you know? When Chase Elliott not long ago was he, snowboarding or something when he broke his leg, right? Well, now Keselowski was skiing and he broke his leg. He had surgery last Thursday. He is planning on, his goal is to be back in the car for the Daytona 500, which means that short track race coming up where they beat and bang on each other at Bowman Gray. It doesn't sound like he's going to drive the 6 car for that.
Yeah, for the Clash, they're gonna have to find someone to put in it. I wonder who they'll pick for that.
Who's on the Ford line right now? Do we have any drivers that are, knocking on the door?
Ford really doesn't have a presence in the Xfinity series, so all they had was that
Cole Custer
factory team, with Cole Custer. That's about it.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
trucks and Thor Sports are kind of their team in trucks, right?
Well, and Brad Keselowski liked Ty. I mean, when Brad had his team, he was looking at Ty.
At a short track.
Yeah.
Let him run her at Bowman Gray. That would be exciting.
That would be exciting.
That really would. And oh boy, that's something we'll have to keep a close eye on, because I'm sure even if he could crawl in through the window with this broken leg to be beaten and banging on that short track, I'm not sure that would be
David Reagan's always out there.
David Reagan, sure. Yeah, there's names, but I want somebody on the way up, not on
or maybe they'll go to one of the Bowman Gray regulars. That would be who the modified standouts from there. That Brown, and then the because didn't that Brown Myers, Myers and Brown I think they each drove cars last year, but they were Rick Ware cars and one of the other garbage cars out there.
Boy, I hate to say it, but Biffle would have been a good candidate for that, wouldn't he? I mean, with the Roush background he had. Well, either way.
Oh, did Brad had surgery, right? So he's got metal in him right now. He's kind of bionic now.
Yeah, that's what he's.
I mean,
that's what he said.
And they're talking the 500 is kind of the goal. I don't know if it's 100% sure he's going to be back for the 500, but that's the goal, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. Speaking of the Daytona 500, Jimmy Johnson announced he's going to be racing in the 500. I think we kind of almost, you know, expect to hear that because he just can't leave it alone. We know he's got 2 races on the docket for next year. The other one being right in his hometown. He was from the San Diego area, and he's going to be in that Navy base road course race on Father's Day too. So there's 2 of them.
Yeah, so
Here's
you
a
have
good
some
one.
open cars coming up for Daytona. I mean, it's Johnson obviously be an open car, but I don't think he's taken the route like Haley took last year. Again, I don't think he's got there's that one other car that's kind of guaranteed a spot with nothing, no money.
yeah.
I don't think he's doing that. He's just an open car right now, and there's probably a few more. You're probably going to have probably about five or six open cars for the 500.
He hasn't really done much since he's raced at Daytona. I don't know if it's just bad luck or if his cars aren't as good as they could be, or he's not used to driving this configuration because it's not really a plate. It's this choked more than I don't know.
Or he's older and wiser now and just doesn't want to get in the mix sometimes. And 500 is kind of a crazy deal where anybody can win it once you get in, but you're going to have to take some chances. And I think some of those guys that are just smarter to say,
nope.
Now, why don't you go kill yourselves? I'm going to it's not like Jimmy Johnson, though, really. If he's going to be in the race, he's going to think he's going to be a factor. It seems like to me. That's just a guess, though. Who knows? Denny Hamlin is still got quite the chip on his shoulder. He's mad at Larry McReynolds because McReynolds took the company line for NASCAR throughout the Sirius radio show that he does. You have to understand, it's a NASCAR show. He kind of had to do that. All those guys have to. They have to toe the line. Dave Mooney. Yeah, Dave Mooney. He's Mr. NASCAR too. I don't know if he really believes some of the things that he touts, but they have to do it. They're the ones that they're talking about. Are they owned by NASCAR? I don't even know that.
That station, I believe, is basically, NASCAR pays, to put them on Sirius XM, so their checks are signed by the France family. So, you don't crap on those who sign your checks.
Don't bite the hand that feeds.
Exactly.
And so Hamlin needs to understand that, although it's good theater, wow, now that it's over, listen to what Larry Mack all said. Well, yeah, he's just towing the company line.
Well, and if Denny listened to the program outside of his own issues, he would hear it's the same way with every issue.
Sure.
Larry Mack has always taken the NASCAR side on things.
And all those guys take the NASCAR. They talk about how great NASCAR is constantly when I'm going to puke your guts out sometimes. But it is what it is, as they say.
And we still don't know how that lawsuit's going to play in the future yet. I mean, they had a big win there, and it's great for now. It just hopefully 10 years from now, it's still going strong and doesn't turn into what happened with IndyCar. It's one of those deals where you won, Hamlin, you won. Don't spike the football right now. Let's just go on.
Yeah, just move along. Nothing to see here. Take your
act like you've won before.
There you go, like you've been there. All right. I don't know how many of you remember the name Craig Smokestad. Around this area, he was a prolific ASA crew chief. He was Scott Hansen's crew chief for a couple of years, but he has worked at the Haas, when it was called Haas Stewart, he was there. Now it's just the Haas factory team. He was named this week. He's going to be the car chief for Sam Mayer. So there's a couple of guys. I think, if I remember right, Smokestad might be a Minnesota native.
He is.
Yeah, he is. Okay. But, he worked so much around these parts that you forget sometimes where these guys are from. But, so there's a local guy with a local tie that's also going to be with Sam Mayer. So that's...
Wasn't there a Smokestead that used to drive a car in ASA too?
Ted Smokestead, and Lisa Smokestead did his tires.
And she, if I remember right, I think she's still the tire specialist for one of the Hendrick cars.
She's a smart cookie.
Oh, yeah. She's been doing it for many, many years, too. And Scott had quite the team there when he had Craig and Lisa Smokestead both working as part of that team. we remember the name Rick Allen, the famous play-by-play NASCAR guy who kind of unceremoniously got shuffled off the Buffalo, and he wasn't around anymore. Well, he's got a new gig. He's been moved from racing to bowling.
Wow.
He's going to be the new PBA bowling announcer for CW and their extensive bowling.
His delivery will kind of work with that, I think.
And we got to see some of that bowling stuff when we were waiting for races to start this year. I don't know if you saw a couple of times the bowling be on right before, and it was like team bowling or something. And the Lumberjacks are one of them against somebody else, and it was
pretty
fun
intense.
To watch. Yeah, it was.
There you go. Let's take a break. We've got not too many results to give you, but we can still give you a couple after we come back.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
Hey, Matthew, give me a hand with this tree.
Dad, let's get a real tree this year.
Hey, leave that fake tree in the box under the basement steps this year. Get a real tree from PMF Landscape on River Road in West Bend. Any kind of real tree imaginable, up to 18 feet. A huge assortment of Christmas decorations, including wreaths in 3 sizes, cemetery wreaths, festive global hanging ornaments, bows, garland roping, and more. Stop in 7 days a week during the holiday season, have refreshments, and check everything out. How about a PMF gift certificate? The perfect gift. PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 South River Road in West Bend. Call them 262-338-8800.
Dad, our tree from PMF Landscape looks great.
And now the LTN Hour presents Dirt on the Dirt with Brian Schmidt.
Only one dirt race last night across the country, and it was in DuQuoin, Illinois. And you're saying it's probably pretty cold down there. Well, no, they were inside. They were inside at the Southern Illinois Center. Kind of a preview to the Chili Bowl coming up. It's the Power Eye Midgets at the Southern Illinois Center. The Junior Knepper 55, and Thomas Meserol grabbed the win in that one last night. So that's it for the results. Couple schedule notes now that all the schedules have been released for 2026. Looking at some of the major series across the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars. They make several appearances in Wisconsin next year. Saturday, June 6th is at Plymouth. Sunday, June 7th, they'll be at Sun Prairie. June 26th and 27th up at Cedar Lake for a big 2-day show. And July 10th and 11th at Wilmot for them. The World of Outlaw late models, they're around here quite a bit. Within, 4 or 5 hour drive. April 10th and 11th, Farmer City for the Illini 100. April 30th, May 1st and 2nd on the west side of the state, Mississippi Thunder Speedway for the big 3-day show over there. June 19th and 20th, we'll be right up the road here at 141 Speedway for the first time ever for a pretty big event for 141 for that one. July 24th, 25th is the traditional Prairie Dirt Classic down at Fairbury American Legion Speedway. July 30th, 31st, and August 1st, the big USA Nationals. So those are the big races for the World of Outlaw late models. Another big national dirt touring series coming around here is September 6th, Sun Prairie for the USAC Midgets for their traditional Firemen's Nationals. So that's a look at some of the big races there.
IRA added a race at Shawano. That'd be kind of cool to see them back there.
Yeah, IRA schedule is still, they got most of their schedule out, and they're still working and adding dates as you go along. I believe they're going to be at LaSalle. They got their traditional dates at Plymouth. So, for the regional series, you got the IRA. Yeah, Shawano, that ought to be interesting for them on the half mile. And finally, some sad news on the dirt side. Gibweiser, a name synonymous with the IRA and modified racing back in the day, he passed away this week. I believe he was 83.
83, so, the racing school teacher, Hall of Famer.
Yes.
What a personality this guy was. I mean, he was really so wonderful for our sport and such a great representative of the Hall of Fame. And he actually was an announcer for a while. So another fellow announcer passes away. I can't really tell you where he did, but I think it probably was following that circuit around a little bit after he retired from driving, I think. Number 55, right?
Yep.
Yes. Yep. Saw him race plenty as a kid.
There
So
we
that's
go.
everything for dirt track racing. They get back in action after the new year. The first big race in the new year will be January 10th when the Wild West Shootout moves to not far from Utah, Casa Grande, Arizona. $25,000 to win on January 10th. So that's when the late models will get back at it. And the wing sprint cars start during speed weeks down in Volusia. That is everything this week.
I'll be going. Hello, Peach.
My mic on? My mic is on. All right. Last Sunday, the Cars Tour was out at Auburndale Speedway in Winter Haven, Florida. Super late model winner was Nick Neri. Kendrick Cryer was down there. He qualified second and he finished second. Lowell Bennett was there, finishing ninth. And Brazen Bennett had qualified eighth, but broke a spool in the rear end and was not able to run the feature. So sad trombone for him, but still nice to see some of our Midwestern boys doing well down south.
I want to mention on Gibby Weiser, there will be a service for him on January 10th at the Pagan Cop Funeral Home in Oconomowoc. So for those of you that are thinking about going, that's when it is, January the 10th.
And as long as we were talking about upcoming races for the asphalt side, the Red Eye, 2026 Red Eye will kick off kind of the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing. That's actually going to be on January 3rd, featuring pro and super late models.
January
But it's
3rd.
kind of a prelude, if you will, for the World Series.
You know what that means? That means on our first show back in 2 weeks, you will have results for us.
Right.
That's pretty amazing.
There is no off season, if you have not figured that out yet.
Yeah, no kidding. It's pretty nice, really. And if if you live down where it's warm, such as here in Arizona or in Florida, it may not be a weekly thing, but there's racing all winter long, and so therefore, drivers will relocate for the winter. Some of them, so they can race all year long, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and they also announced this week that UARA series is going to pay a $20,000 to win race Saturday, February 28th at that Auburndale Speedway. So that Auburndale track is kind of getting some traction there. That you really never heard much about it, and now they're trying to show that they're legitimate down there, and they're going to pay a $20,000 to win race.
And the UARA is coming to Golden Sands Speedway as well, too, for the first time next year. I don't know if we actually talked about that or not. But that
it was
is
rumored, but we didn't. Yeah. So it's what is that? That's
it
the
is
first-
scheduled for August 1st, 2026.
Funny, you mentioned Auburndale. I never really had heard of the place before until at the Freedom Factory. I was talking to Lowell Bennett, who told me that the two Bennetts were both going to be racing there. And where the hell is that? Well, Winter Haven, a little south of Orlando, but it's there. And yeah, you start doing 20,000 to win shows, and your name is going to get. You're going to be on the map pretty quickly, I think. And so and I would think since the Bennetts have a place down here in Florida, I believe they're probably going to be racing in that one again too. And after that nice finish by
Kendrick Cryer.
It seems to me they'll probably be back for that one too. So that's just the start of it. Now we're going to have to see. There'll be guys saying, "Geez, is that worth the ride?" Yeah, it probably is. It seems like.
And I see they added some races to the World Series of Asphalt. At New Smyrna, they added some super late and pro late races on some of the nights that they weren't before. So pretty full schedule there too.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that. I don't know all who's going down there from the Midwest. I've heard a lot of different names being bandied around, but nobody that I've heard for sure's. Except for Fredrickson. Ty Fredrickson, I believe, is going to be down there.
Last I heard, Summers said they were going to go. So we'll see if they change their mind or not.
Well, there's usually, sponsor things to work on before you do that. We mentioned how prevalent it is, air travel for racers, and how, even though it's a safe way to travel, sometimes these things happen. It wasn't that long ago, if you'll remember, that Dale Jr. and his entire family were involved in a thing. Was that at Statesville too, Dale?
No, Bristol.
Oh, it was Bristol. Okay. Well, Yeah, they were able to get out of the plane, but I believe there was a fire there too, wasn't there? I mean, it could have been really
Yeah,
ugly.
yeah, it wasn't like a minor just thing. It was a pretty serious deal, but everything worked out there. Yeah, like you said, it's you travel that. I mean, it's weird how racing has evolved in that. Everybody used to drive everywhere, and then I think corporate sponsors came involved, and you had to do all these appearances, and it was impossible to drive everywhere and make all these appearances. And now it's pretty much just you have to fly everybody the way the schedule is. And if you go to a race and after the race is over, if you happen to be near the local airport, you talk about the race on the racetrack. There's a race to get to the airport too. Everybody's trying to get out of there as well.
Yeah, pretty amazing. I was fortunate enough to have been invited on Jerry Gunderman's plane back in the day. He calls me and says, "Hey, you want to go to the Rockingham race tomorrow with me?" That was a kind of a short thought process. Hell yeah! So we flew from Watertown, where his airplane was kept, and we landed on the drag strip across the street from Rockingham Speedway. And when we left, the plane lined up right at the Christmas tree and took off as we were barrel-assing down that racetrack. And we took off and looked down at all the bumper-to-bumper traffic. It was, I can see why guys fly everywhere. It was a wonderful thing. Yeah, it's how it's evolved.
And ready for a break.
There we go. We'll be back right after these.
Miller Sales and Service of Random Lake is where to go for a trailer, no matter what you're hauling. Tom and Jerry Miller have been selling trailers from B&B, Trophy, and Bravo for over 50 years. Quality and integrity is what put them on the map on the corner of 57 and K since 1939. Home of the number 89 dirt and asphalt cars of Brad Miller. That's Miller Sales and Service. It's where to go for a trailer, just 20 minutes north of Milwaukee. Call them 920-994-4358.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines, just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship-winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company, in the heart of Wisconsin, is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at WagnerAutomotive.com.
As you may have heard me mention, we're going to take a 1-week break for the holidays next week, and we'll be back in 2 weeks on the 4th of January. We've very much consider ourselves to be very fortunate that we have not only such a great listening audience that has followed us to the internet, and our numbers on the internet have never been better, as you might imagine. But we have sponsors that are very much responsible for keeping us doing this. And without their help, we definitely wouldn't be here. And that certainly would include our friend Mike Egan and the folks at Bonafide Security Solutions for everything they've done for us. Casey Wagner and Wagner Automotive Research. Man, is there a better racing group to be around right there? How about Jasper Drengler, who called us while we were doing the program and offered to sponsor us earlier this year? And Chimney Mechanics has been with us ever since. And we've had people that have let us know that they've used Chimney Mechanics and how happy they were. I mean, it's really great. And our thanks to Jasper for sponsoring us. Of course, Jerry and Elaine Miller and Miller Sales and Service of Random Lake, Wisconsin. Spectacular people, and they've been with us forever. Froggy and the bunch at PMF Landscape Supply. His real name is Paul Forgatch, but don't call him that. Just call him Froggy, and he'll be happy to answer the phone. And then our racetracks that we just love and are basically partners with, including Slinger Speedway and the new track promoter, Travis Dasso. I would say that was a pretty successful first season over there, and things are looking up all the time. There's improvements coming at that racetrack constantly, and it couldn't have been sold to a better guy and a better group to keep it going. The Sheboygan County Fairgrounds and the Plymouth Dirt Track. Bill Weinog, thanks a lot for sticking with us. Jerry Albee and our friends at Dell's Raceway Park, love you guys. John Everett and the gang at Road America, boy, they're probably racing this weekend, aren't they? Something. What are they doing? Do they ever run snowmobiles there?
No, but they do a lot of winter driving schools there. So that's their big thing in winter. They cover the paddock area with snow, and people can learn how to drive in the winter. I would recommend it to a lot of people around here to take that class.
They need to learn, even the plow truck drivers. John Yingling, the chairman of the board at the Milwaukee Mile, and his PR type at the Wisconsin State Fair, Tess Kirkson. Thanks so much for sponsoring us. And, of course, Greg McCarnes has been a very, very loyal sponsor over the years, and he's not with the ASA Midwest Tour anymore like he was, but he certainly is he made a post not long ago that Madison International Speedway is now free and clear. He owns it himself, and I think that's in good hands for the future, no doubt. We have a couple of contributors that help us out all the time, and I'd like to thank Aaron Baird of Colorado Springs, Colorado, Paul Reichert of La Crosse, Wisconsin. They both help us on a weekly basis, and we do appreciate everything they do for us. And I guess I couldn't go too much further without saying these listeners are amazing. You're listening on Facebook. You're listening on YouTube. And, Matt, there's a lot of different platforms that they can get nowadays. I don't know how many different platforms myself, but this can be downloaded, of course, on iHeart, iTunes, and all major vessels. How's that? How many other ones are there? We have a bunch, don't we?
Tons.
Yeah. There we go.
As we head into the next year in 2026, we're going to hit a milestone, aren't we? Is it spring or summer?
This summer, we will, I don't know what we're going to do yet or if we're going to do anything, but we will be doing our 2000th radio show this year. The last one, if you'll remember, we did a 1000th radio show. It was in 2006. So it's been a while. It'll be 20 years. Well, we do 50 shows a year. Figure it out. Hello? You don't have to be a math major.
I remember the most about that show is Matt and we had everything, went over the night before, like late after bar time, and set everything up and had it all set. It was at Paulie's, I think, here in West Dallas. And we got a call. Remember that, Matt? We got a call, and it was your daughter called in from, like, Iraq.
Yeah, she was stationed in Iraq at the time, and called. Yeah, I was, a little surprised to say the least. By the way, that same daughter is retiring in a year from now. She's in Germany right now. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. It's been a great 2025 with the exception of this last week when we had to deal with the unbelievably terrible case of Greg Biffle and that entire group. So keep them in your prayers this Christmas. Think about their whole family. And to all of you guys, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's. We love you guys. And we'll see you in 2026.
This program has come to you live from multiple locations. Any and all comments expressed on this show do not necessarily express the opinions of this station, its employees, or advertisers. Your comments are always welcome at mail@ltnradionetwork.com. Find us at facebook.com/LTN Radio Network. And thank you for your support since 1985. Tune in again next Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time for the LTN Hour on the LTN Radio Network.